and the people that he brought in, if y'all tell me if I'm lying, Quincy Jones brought in Fresh Prince. I don't know. Yes. Tevin Campbell.
Yeah, I hung out with him, yesterday at rehearsal. Yeah. We sat in the car and listened to some music.
But I've been talking a lot about it in a lot of the interviews that I've been doing lately, but he's the one that brought it up.
Voice like that had the records that he had that could have easily transformed into one of the greatest male vocals of all time, end up prostituting himself for drugs and change.
Today, producers like Kanye and Pharrell make most of the decisions about the next big thing in the music industry. But back in the 90s, that job was reserved for Quincy Jones and only a handful of people. Jones is credited for several successful record productions, including for songs with greats like Michael Jackson. And just like he gave the world the Thriller star, reports say he also gave the world Tevin Campbell. Just like Michael, Campbell was an enigma in the industry, bringing his A-game to every single record he was on. By the time he became a teenager, he was already on posters with the biggest singers of his time. However, recent revelations have just revealed that all of that success came at a price. Considering that Jones has already been caught up in reports about taking advantage of other stars in the past, could this be a pattern for this producer? Let's hear it from Tevin.
There was never any doubt that you would have a very storied career. I think it was Quincy Jones who said, around when you were discovered at 12, that he likened you to
another Michael Jackson or maybe Stevie Wonder. This was the record industry's buzz about Tevin Campbell, who was a 15-year-old pop soul singer when he shot into stardom. But it's only right that he was regarded as that, considering the track record he had on his belt. After all, Tevin has already made records with two of the most respected names in pop, Quincy Jones and Prince. But it seems touching the hem of the greats came at a horrible price for the singer.
It wasn't so much a pressure meeting those people and working with those people because I was a kid, but the pressure.
The teenager attracted considerable attention in the early 90s with his two lead vocals on Jones's Grammy-winning Back on the Block album, and then virtually stole the show from Prince with his stirring singing on Round and Round, the most appealing number from the Minneapolis Marvel's Graffiti Bridge soundtrack. The star-making machinery showed the world what he had to offer with the release of his own album, Tevin, on Jones Quest Records. And sure enough, Tevin did sound like a young Stevie Wonder at the time, particularly with his singing on the lush ballad, Tell Me What You Want Me to Do, which was here in the pop and R&B, top 40 nationally in 1991. Though at the time, there was always the danger of backlash when young artists were so highly praised. Jones and Benny Medina, the executive producers of the album, weren't nervous about setting high expectations. Jones even good-naturedly called the singer Tevin the Great. It seems that might have been an inside joke between Jones and Tevin because, as the news would have it shortly after his album blew up, word started to spread about how the relationship between the pair was far from professional. The talks at the time had people asking a lot of questions, as was the case with this user who wrote, "Did Quincy Jones make Tevin Campbell gay?" Known for his hit song, Can We Talk for a Minute? Tevin recently decided to get in front of the narrative about his past and what it was like for him coming up in the industry. And boy, did he talk for a lot more than a minute.
This when I was 12 years old, so I didn't have time to sort of process all of that.
The singer appeared on the People Everyday podcast for an in-depth interview where he discussed his life and career, also revealing for the first time how life for a gay man in the industry is completely different from what people outside the entertainment sphere could ever imagine. Talking about his musical past, Campbell said, "I refer to myself as a former child star because that's just what I am." As a kid from Waxahachie, Texas, Tevin got scooped up by superstar maker Benny Medina when he was just 12. Fast forward a bit, and then Quincy Jones himself swoops in and tossed the singer into the musical spotlight at the ripe old age of 13. And guess what? The whole world goes wild and starts calling this young sensation the next Michael Jackson. The comparison was a big compliment that came with a lot of pressure, says Campbell. "I just kind of wanted to be me, you know?" Instead, he was packaged as a young heterosexual heartthrob. Talking about those plans after hitting his marks with major records like I'm Ready in 1993, Campbell admitted, "I don't think the sex symbol thing worked, but the love songs last." Even fans agreed with, as one user on X spoke about it, saying, "I think it's funny that Quincy Jones thought Tevin Campbell could be a sex symbol. Shh, cracks me up every time it comes on." To prove his point, he gave an instance with Can We Talk, a song that was almost given to Usher, his contemporary at the time, earned Campbell a Grammy nomination and has seen a resurgence in recent years thanks to a popular TikTok singing challenge. I had no idea at the time, like when I was 15 or 16 recording this song, that it would have that impact, says Campbell. I was just a kid singing in the studio.
When I was a kid, I had no idea that this was the story behind Can We Talk. But apparently, L.A. Reid wanted Usher to have Can We Talk, and Babyface wanted me to have Can We Talk, and it was a huge...
Coming of age in the heteronormative space of R&B at that time, I didn't hide anything about me. I didn't try to act a certain way or anything, says Campbell. But also he notes of that era in the industry, you just couldn't be gay back then. Seems his comfort might have been thanks to the fact that he had already been exposed to a lot more than a child should have seen. While he was working with Quincy, this is why many people on the internet seem to believe the singer might have been groomed by Jones and maybe even some other producers. Considering the track record of Jones with minors in the industry, these claims weren't really far-fetched, particularly in his case because the man had been caught up in way too many grooming scandals. Besides the infamous story of how he and Michael Jackson might have fallen out because the deceased singer was done being his pawn, there are also other similarly sinister stories involving him and tough guys like Will Smith and Tupac. In their case, it had long been rumored that Jones might have forced them into sleeping with him. The seemingly undefined relationship they had with Quincy might have affected them quite a lot, as reports say he tried to turn them gay like him. If you remember correctly, there was the time when Tupac exposed Quincy Jones for his S**Sewell advances. In the interview, Tupac revealed that Quincy asked him if he could stick it in his backside. But then what happened? The interview was mysteriously wiped out from the entire internet. Let's face it, only someone as influential as Quincy could have accomplished a feat like that. Since Tupac is not alive to confirm the audio, Quincy must have decided to clean his hands from his dirty actions. Even rapper Napoleon seemed to deny all these rumors. In an interview, when Napoleon was confronted with the alleged relationship between Tupac and Quincy, he denied everything on the spot and started defending Jones. But inasmuch as Jones might have been able to erase stuff from the internet, he couldn't possibly erase them from people's memories, and these people have been talking. One person wrote, "I heard the audio of Tupac saying that about Quincy with my own ears about 10 years ago. Quincy is or was the key holder to the black music industry. Anyone at the top level had gotten there by partaking in his parties." But even this was not the first time Tupac touched on his frustration with Quincy about his nasty actions. Back in the day, in an interview, Tupac himself lashed out at a lot of executives and even made some daring remarks about them in the process. The question he had everyone asking was if he was talking about Quincy Jones making people submit to his fetishes. Well, considering that Pac and Jones were actually more than just work colleagues while he was alive, the rapper might have been onto something about the record executive. Maybe Quincy took that as an opportunity and decided to make his move on Tupac. In fact, they were close to the point that before his death, Tupac was even considering leaving his signed label, Death Row Records, to join Quincy's label. It seems the case with Pac might have been similar to what happened to Tevin Campbell, as he revealed that things started to change for him after he started working with Jones, and then his third album didn't perform as expected, so he started to make some changes to his life, which involved escaping Quincy. When I came out to my family and friends at about 19 or 20, that was it for me. And then I went on the road of discovering myself. I didn't know who I was, says Campbell, who stepped away from the music industry and credits much of his growth to the 6 years he spent performing in the Broadway musical Hairspray beginning in 2004. Being around people who were like me, LGBTQ, plus people that were living normal lives and had partners. I had never seen that, he says. That was a great time in my life. Despite years of speculation, Campbell has largely kept his private life private. However, there have been even more speculations about the singer's alleged sexual involvement with Jones, and he doesn't seem too happy about it. Prove that when he took to X to address it in a now-deleted tweet. "Now I'm trending folks will really say some disgusting things," the Can We Talk singer said. Tevin was molested by Quincy, GTFOH with the devil. He continued. Several laughing emojis accompanied the tweet. Campbell also went on to tweet a quote from Jones, "God is pushing the bad in our face to make us fight back." Later, the singer also responded to a Twitter user's question about famous singers who are rumored to be gay. He simply tweeted, "Tevin is," adding a rainbow emoji. "It was a casual thing for me," Campbell says, of what many took as a coming out statement. "In truth," he adds, "I love my fans, but what they think about my sexuality is of no importance to me." No one is sure if this was Campbell basically confirming that he might have had a thing with Jones. But if that was indeed the case, it's only a matter of time before it blows up again. That's it for this video. Goodbye.
I mean, the things being alleged in this video, I mean, in my opinion, I view them as things that are very possible. You know, these situations that are being alleged in this video, I feel like these situations are very possible, you know. We'll never know unless Tevin comes out and says something like that, because obviously, you know, for obvious reasons, Quincy Jones is not going to come out and say anything like that, right? So it is what it is, right? I know that personally, I don't know if y'all agree with me, but personally, I get a very creepy vibe from Quincy Jones, you know? And I have never really heard him speak, but I've just seen pictures of him. And I don't know, man. I get a creepy vibe from dude. I do. I get a pretty creepy vibe from dude. Like, if I just woke up and seen a face like that, I would be scared, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I get a creepy vibe from dude. That's all I'm gonna say, because I'm not trying to, you know. Oh, or you know how YouTube is. But yeah, nah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely get a creepy vibe from dude, and so I wouldn't be surprised if these things, you know, allegedly, if these things are possible. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised. So it's like, you know, there's been other stories too. It's not like this is the only story involving Quincy Jones. So it makes you think even deeper, like, wow, you know, when there's multiple stories, it almost adds multiple different stories, not by people trying to get money or anything like that. Like, this is not a Me Too situation where people are like trying to fiend for money. Okay, like no, this is not that. You know what I mean? This is where you know, these are people who already have millions of dollars, and they're coming out and saying like, okay, wait, there's something going on here. So when that's the case, and those people who have a lot to lose are coming out and saying that, and nothing to gain really, you know, I mean, that kind of tells you everything that you need to know about certain situations, right? You know, we talk about Diddy, we talk about many people on this channel. And so, I mean, it's up to you to use your discernment and, you know, to internalize the things that are being shown to you blatantly, a part of observable reality, okay? These are the things that you need to internalize, right? And so it's a very simple thing. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like the video. Link to the Patreon is going to be in the description. And yeah, y'all, it's Noah's right here. Be easy, y'all.